Hey, this is Daryl as a service coming at you live from regarding Office 365. It's the Message Centre, the week that was June the 23rd, for those who are still experiencing it. And over here in the rest of the world, we're enjoying our weekend. So yeah, welcome. Thank you for coming along. There's only a few announcements in the Message Centre this week. Though it has been a busy week, it's been an interesting one. Some things gone GA. There's Microsoft Stream, and that's been just over the last couple of days. Let me just turn down some of those loops there. And we also have, let me just close this off here too. We also have a few changes around the site collections within Office 365 groups and external sharing. Something to help you tidy up the exchange, a mailbox when someone's left the company and you want to get rid of their events that might be dotted in different places. And then the SharePoint Site Collection, the new SharePoint template for communication sites is beginning to roll out too. So I just thought I'd start off with just an interesting screenshot too of something just working out loud as I do sometimes. Let's bring this up. Flip this over to previous live. No, not that one. This one here. Facebook is getting a little confusing now. As I do a live stream, it was all scheduled, and I'm pushing through to do the preview. It now drops this little great thing here called a live tag there to make it look like you are live, but you're not really live until it's scheduled to go live in 2 minutes. So having lots of fun there, and for those who are doing streaming like me, you'll enjoy that one. Anyway, back to the Message Centre. So the idea with this is trying to keep up to date with what's happening in your tenants, staying informed, and these days that's pretty much the only category I see in here is stay informed. But there are other categories too that advise you of maintenance that might be on a database, like I've had for a couple of times with Yammer, or I have also a EMS subscription, so I get to know when Intune is doing certain things as well. So let's work our way through the list, and just to start off with too, Microsoft Stream became generally available, and earlier in the week I met up with Lorian and we went through about a half an hour walkthrough of Microsoft Stream. So something of a walkthrough in terms of looking at the announcement and the portal itself. You might see that there are some things that are still falling into place. The side of how to understand where to create channels, and when you upload videos, where do they go, and how do they relate to an Office 365 group. I found that kind of interesting. We'll have a look at that shortly too. But the integration between Stream and Teams seems to be quite interesting too, that you can add a tab and you can that tab can connect to the channel. And this is why I needed to understand, when I upload a video, how do I get that to appear in a channel on my team? And one other thing then you might just very briefly see there, and I'll dive into it on full screen, is the cognitive analysis of a stream too. So as I'm dropping in a video into Stream, I can get the subtitles created automatically for me, and I can choose the language that appears in. I can download that and then correct it if I need to and upload it. But there's all sorts of capabilities that are what's out of the box and included with a Stream 1 plan, which is included in the Enterprise 3 plans, and if you want additional features, then there's the Stream 2 plan, which you can get with an E5 plan, or you can attach it to your existing subscription. So it follows that same pattern that we've seen with Exchange Plan 1, Plan 2. They used to have SharePoint Plan 1 and 2, and you're paying for additional features to get access to that. So these cognitive features are available within the Stream Plan 2. So let's get back to having a look at some of those things within Stream now. If I dive into an example of the what have I got here? I've got a channel which I've created, and it's within a team. Can you follow that? So there's a you see, I'm already struggling to try and explain it, so I'll draw it soon. when you have stream, let's just get to the drawing. Hang on there just a moment. Sometimes it's just better to get a pen in your hand and grab a whiteboard. So the stream service is live. Cool, you've seen it, you can access it, you're using your Office 365 credentials to access it. The videos themselves are stored in an Azure blob. So no longer are they stored in a SharePoint Site Collection, they're stored in an Azure blob, and then that means they get access to all the goodies within Azure, the cognitive services available, and potentially other services, future services. Now when I upload a video, and I can just quickly change back over to what that experience is. We land on the stream homepage. The stream homepage. I can't wait till I get fiber. And you're presented with different trending videos and channels and sliders and all sorts of things. Simplest way to get a video in there is using the top right hand corner. You just drag and drop a video on there. Now when that video is uploaded, you will get some choices about the permissions that you want to apply to the video. So this is where we get into some of this structure that I'm trying to further understand. So that video, it's up here, and it appears to be available first of all in a company-wide channel. It's available to people to view, and the company-wide channels are available to anyone to view, and there's no sort of strict permissions around that. But once that video is uploaded, you have a permission section where you can choose to add it to a group. So let's just move that over to a group. And you can further add it to a channel within a group. Now a group can have its own channels, and I kind of like that because you might have a channel that represents a certain project that you're working on, and that team might also work on additional projects, things for additional customers. It all depends on how you're dividing things up. We've begun to do something interesting and adopt and embrace of like a team for a customer and then a channel for a project. And that works quite well. So that's talking Teams channels. So now that we've got streams, teams, channels, you're going to have a lot of fun there. So yeah, let's get further into this. So not only are we adding the video to a group and allowing the group to see that video, but what I discovered as I was trying to do this and attach the video to a team tab, I found that I couldn't do that until I added it to a team channel. The tabs that you can add to Microsoft Teams can only be channels. So if I just flick over back to the experience of trying to find that group, we will go over that just briefly again, but I do recommend that you have a look through the full walkthrough that Lauren and I did. There's a bunch of groups that we can get to. Unfortunately, we can't search the name of the group in this, so at the moment I know that the group's name is marketing. Now I can see it right there, but if I had landed on any of these pages or just used the search box and I type marketing or beginning to hit enter, it searches for videos, so it gives me that search differentiator. I can then say, are there any channels that are called marketing, people with the word market in them, but if I flick over to groups, it doesn't give me that same, well, show me the marketing group. I've got to get this infinite scroll or change and sort for that. So we know that there's the marketing group. Let's dive into the marketing group, and within that we have channels. Now, interesting thing I found here too was once I understood that a video couldn't be attached, or rather a channel couldn't be attached. Hang on, let me get this right. A video couldn't be attached to the Microsoft Team tab. This is getting really confusing. I know that you can attach an individual video to a tab in Microsoft Teams, but if you're wanting it to be a way of sharing the marketing videos for the marketing group, you have to share the channel. So there could be multiple channels, or there could be no channels if you're starting out. And so you're not able to add the marketing group's video storage unless you begin to add these videos to channels. I might need to draw that one again, but we'll try and illustrate. So you've got your channels. I've added my video channel called Using Teams Videos, and this is what I've added to my team. And I've added a few videos to that, so that is what appears in my team. Let's just see if we can dive into Teams while we're at it. Let that load up. So it's this channel and this URL that we use to add to the team as a tab, and it's not until you get all those ducks in a row and get all the association right with the video that it all makes sense. Now, just as an example, I've added 3 videos, but 2 of them I uploaded differently. I went and found my team, the marketing team, and I uploaded those videos, and they've been tagged with a limited access. The 3rd one I uploaded using the upload icon up here in the top left hand corner, top right hand corner. So that by default tagged it as company wide, company available. And I thought, that was interesting, that it depends on where you upload things, that and you're going to really navigate through to find these things, to how you tag that video itself. But interestingly, if we go back into add and group channel, I'm not seeing any viewers or tags there to say that it's open to the whole company. So that's a little confusing. Maybe I don't want this video to be available to the whole company. I should have navigated through to marketing, uploaded it, and dropped it or shared it with the Using Teams Videos channel. So yeah, still things that I'm working out there, but where does that channel appear? Okay, so that was where I visited last time. I was checking some things out about the length of a OneNote tab. And here's our marketing vids, and the channel itself has been added as a tab. Come on now. I'll just show you the example of where that all fits together. If you are adding a tab, then you can share an individual video or a channel. So that's where you would paste the channel URL. Anyway, enough of that. There's a few things to really figure out. There you go. Here's our example of the video channel now appearing in my newly uploaded video just today. A few things around commentary, how do you add comments, but yeah, I do recommend that you check out our video, and I'll drop that into the comments after the live stream so that you can find it in relative fashion to what I'm talking about right now. Looking to try and get a more highly powered machine to help out with streaming here, so apologies if it's coming through a bit funny. Alright, the other announcement there on SharePoint Online Site Collections, I had to read this one a couple of times to really understand, and definitely needed to look through at the additional information. So this is related to the site collections that are created with an Office 365 group. As you create a group, every group gets a team site collection of its own. At the moment, we've got very little controls, as I understand, about what we can do with that site collection. We don't see it exposed yet within the SharePoint Admin Center, so we can't do all the things that we normally would do within there. However, by default, when the site collection has been created in the past, it has been set with external sharing that has been allowed. Content can be shared within that site collection if the user already exists. So we have to get out our pen again. Let's draw this one up as well. So we have a site collection, and we from an AD perspective, we have internal users, and we have external or guest users that we have invited. EXU, I guess we'll go with that. And we've got our site collection. So we've got a document there, and dropping that in, of course, that means that it's available to the user within an organization, and also to the external user, as you'd expect. Now they're considered an existing external user in Active Directory, and the default permission is that we're allowed to share that content with an existing external user. How does that external user become a member of the Active Directory? It is when we invite them to our group. So if we put our group over here and we say, hey, external user, be in my group, then we get an entry within our Active Directory. So how about sharing content with external users that aren't in our Active Directory yet? And this is one of the questions that was asked within, basically saying, look, if you're going to allow external users to access the content, then please allow us to be able to just share a document with another external user, please. Much like we can do with a SharePoint Site Collection if we have set the right permissions. So going forward, we will be able to do that. The permissions won't be changed retrospectively to existing site collections for groups, but you can do so with a PowerShell command. So the additional information takes you through to this thread, announcement and discussion about it, and like I said, it's definitely a place where I needed to rely on further explanation and to-ing and fro-ing from the members of our community there to try and explain it a bit more. So Salvatore, he explains it quite well. He said that initially the status that you might see within the PowerShell command shows existing external users sharing only. Following the change, it'll be external sharing only. So as a side comment, it's not allowing you to do unauthenticated or anonymous sharing, but it is allowing you to share an individual document or folder within a group, and allowing that to be shared with a user that hasn't been added to the group yet. So yeah, thanks to the community for making that a little clearer. We have another announcement there for Exchange Online, and this is something more of a convenience and a tidy up feature. I know there's a lot of pens going on today, so I'll draw this as well. From this perspective, you have, let's say, an end user, and they have their mailbox, and they have, created various different events within calendars. This could be a room booking, a room resource, and this could just be a regular group calendar. And so they might have created events, and later on, if this person moves on from their workplace, they have their mailbox archived, removed, etc. But those events have continued to live on, and that can cause some issues. And we've all experienced that, where someone has invited us to a recurring online meeting, and that event continues to stay there, and sometimes Exchange is really helpful in recreating that event when you remove it from your calendar. So this new command or capability allows you to get rid of those events that might have been existing in other calendars. So almost like you've removed the mailbox, I'll go forward and I'll remove traces of the events. So that's a really nice tidy up feature there, and a welcome one too. And finally, something that I can't quite access yet, but I know that it's coming out, the new SharePoint the new templates for communication sites are being rolled out. So like with a number of these things, as they are rolled out, it's gradually over time. And all of those who are super enthusiastic and first adopters and first release all want to get their hands on it. I see a discussion before I went online here with some friends about Microsoft Forms, which we discussed last week in the show, that the Forms has not arrived yet in some tenants. So it's likely going to be the same thing as we usually see within the communication sites, that it'll be available to fire up and use. And this was one of the hot topics around the SharePoint Virtual Summit, about these communication sites that make it far easier for you to create really beautiful looking sites to communicate with the wider organization. Following that pattern with the news articles that we have within individual team sites, but just bringing them all together, bringing together stream content. So now that stream's available, cool, and also making use of Yammer groups to provide some of that conversation facility and experience there too. So what does that look like? What do we expect to see? We expect to see, once it is available, that within the SharePoint landing page, SharePoint home page, that if we go to create a site, we're going to be able to see an option there for either a team site or a communication site. Currently I have a team site, so that's so it's going to create a group at the same time. Maybe we should just check that out. Yep, so it's definitely still the team site capability. I think I recall in the demo during the summit that you do have a choice of templates there, so you will see a couple of choices before being asked to give it a name. So not quite there yet, but excited to see what's going to happen there. And it does really tend to, if I just round it off a bit here, it does tend to ignite that question again about, do we need an intranet? Do people need to be able to go to a central place and get news, or are they getting their news and keeping up to date with things using the likes of Microsoft Teams, Yammer, or dare I say it, your distribution lists? But there is of course a need for intranets in terms of keeping all that content together in a central place. Common stuff that everyone needs to know, and that's where the likes of a communication site is still really useful. And you see a good example here along the top of news from the different sites that I belong to, and I've created some demo articles as I've been playing around with it. But it brings it all together in this hub, and that's what I'm expecting to see in the communication site, is that it'll aggregate some of these things across the organization and make it easier for us to read all that content together. What I do like about this, and I tend to favor this kind of method for trying to communicate, is rather than writing this great long Yammer post or this great long Teams post or a massive email, it makes sense to write up a nice story, make it graphically appealing, drop in some videos, some other content as well. Write that as a news story in the intranet and link off to that. Create your post in Yammer and Teams and wherever else, but link off to the full experience, the full article that you want to prepare and communicate. So you're getting the best of both worlds. That way you're creating conversation around the story that you've got, you're drawing attention to it, you've got that kind of viral social sharing capability, certainly if you're using Yammer or just sharing that out. And for those who bump into it, of course, on this experience of going to the SharePoint homepage, that you'll see those stories presented here, and maybe we'll see something additional here, bringing us through to a communication site, larger experience there. So that's about us for this week. 4 announcements, and I had plenty to say and a bit of bumbling and drawing. Thanks for putting up with my little squiggles. But let's mark those all as read and dismiss them. That was the week that was June the 23rd in my Office 365 Message Center. I don't know if yours was a little busier, but do keep yourself informed about what's going on. Do look in here for things that are specific to you. Remember, it does appear recently that some of the announcements and things that are landing in your Message Center are just another blog site that are used for marketing. Excuse me, but it's not the case. Your message center is specific to you and your tenant. It's letting you know when things are arriving, when to look out for them when they're about to arrive, and any maintenance and things that you might need to know about. So do go back in and check in on it. Use the Office 365 admin app on your various mobile devices, and keep yourself up to date. And just another request too, just as a finish off, do follow our Facebook page if you're watching this from there. That's facebook.com/reoffice365. We do have a YouTube channel, and we're still trying to get a few subscribers to get up to that 100 mark so we can get ourselves a decent URL. But yeah, come and read some of our stories as well on reoffice365.com, where we're writing about things regarding Office 365. So thank you all, and have a great day. Bye for now.